YouTube, what's going on, man? It's your boy Xerxes coming back at you with another one. This one is hands down build of the league, and it's not even close. Okay, so I'm excited to share this one with you. What this is an endurance charge stacking, frenzy charge stacking, tornado shot slayer. Okay, sounds kind of wonky. I got the build idea from Palsteron. He posted a video on it a couple of days ago. I watched the video and was like, yo, that looks fucking sick. Let me give it a try. Okay, so as always in all my videos, what we're going to do is run a map here, just show you a little quick showcase. There is a deli mirror in here with Abyss, Breach, and Legion. Okay, so we'll get into it after that. I'm going to go over every item, every link. That way you guys can, if you don't want to go to the POB, you can at least see everything that's in there. We'll go over the passive tree a little bit, and then I have a little bit of a cheat sheet that I'm going to use to show you kind of all of the benefits that we get from stacking all of the random shit that we stack in this build. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into this. We're just going to pop these Ralakesh on real quick and take them off. And as you can see, we're at 11 charges. Once I kill one thing, we're going to go up to 12. So we have 12 frenzy charges, 12 endurance charges, and we will hopefully get some power charges here through some tech that we're running power charge on crit. So hopefully, oh yep, there we go, we got them now. So 24 and 3, what is that, 27 charges in total, and we are fucking zoomy in this build. It's absolutely crazy. If you've been following this channel for a while, you know I love Frostblade's Trickster, right? And this build plays actually pretty similar to that, but you're ranged, and this is like probably twice as fast with all the movement speed that we get from frenzy charges, and we can play at range instead of having to be up close and personal with enemies. So it's been an absolute blast. I love it. It's kind of crazy to see what's going on. Oh, here's the Legion. We'll pop this, drop a couple of turrets down, and watch the madness ensue. I can't even imagine what this would be like if you had a headhunter. It would probably be nutty. I might actually end up doing that. Honestly, that would be fun. I've never even played with a headhunter before, so that's something to think about. But yeah, I mean, as you can see, the build, it's like the fastest build I've ever played. We're just wrecking everything. Oh, my game froze a little bit there. All right, we'll come back to that. Oh, here's a breach. Wreck the breach. And the recovery from a Slayer is crazy too. You know, every once in a while our life will go down, but with how much leech and recovery we have, I mean, we jump back up, you know, almost instantly to full health. So it's not the tankiest build I've ever played, but I haven't died on it at all, and I've been running some pretty juiced. You know, I ran a fully juiced T16 100% delirious map last night. Didn't have any problem with it at all. So the build's been a blast so far. And there's the map done. Okay, so as you can see, if you're looking for a speedy mapper, this build, I couldn't recommend this one enough. It's absolutely nuts. So let's see what we get out of this deli mirror, and then we'll go over the build. All right, let's get into it. So like I said, I got this idea from Palsteron. I'll link the video that he made for the build in the description below in case you want to check it out. There are a couple of things that I'm doing a little different in this build, but like I said, we'll just go over every gear piece one by one with the links that are in them. Okay, so for your helm, you're just looking for a helm that has cold pin and reduced mana cost on the implicits, spell suppress, accuracy, life, and resistances on there, and then tornado shot fires an additional secondary projectile is the enchant that you're looking for there. Okay, the weapon is a Widow Hail. If you can get one with supported by faster proj, go for it. The most important thing is getting it close to 250% as you can. Okay, and then in here we have Divergent Inspiration for the reduced mana cost of attacks, Divergent Tornado for the attack speed, Awakened Fork, Anomalous Ice Bite. This just gives you 2% increased damage per frenzy charge, so that's 24% increased damage right there. Awakened Ellie damage with attacks, and then Awakened Cold Pin. Okay, for the ring, if you can afford to get a rare +1 frenzy charge implicit ring, go for it. They're like 160, 170 divines. I didn't feel like spending that much. So this one actually worked out. It helped me with some reservation efficiency, some cold res, and the extra frenzy charge, which is nice. Okay. Comb Spirit in here. You want this with +1 frenzy. Pretty simple. And then we're just running Blood Rage if we need to generate some charges or get some leech. Enhance with Flame Dash just for some movement, and then Berserk. The belt is a Hunter Stygian Vise with some strength. We are starved for strength and intelligence on this build quite a bit, so get that where you can. And then just life and resistance is on there. The jewel that I have in here is the same jewel that I was using for my Frostblades Trickster. It's just a great, you know, cold damage jewel to have. Okay. The boots are Dark Ray Vectors. This is how you get another frenzy charge. And in here we have a second tornado shot set up with Focus Ballista, Cold Pin, Ballista Totem, and Divergent Tornado. The other ring that I have here, you know, obviously if you can get 2 +1 frenzy charges, you want to get those too. But, you know, that's talking like mirror tier stuff. So a cheaper option is to get one that has a synthesized implicit for added cold damage per frenzy charge. And I actually got pretty lucky and found one that has regen life per endurance charge on there as well. So we're getting 3.6% life regen per second with all of our endurance charges. And then you spam this with Essences of Horror to get that mod again on the item for the flat cold per frenzy. So we have 8 to 14 cold per frenzy charge just from this one ring. And then you're going to look for some strength, you know, resistance is life if you can get it, and non-channeling skills. We don't have a huge mana pool. We only have 50 mana left. So if you can reduce the mana cost of Tornado Shot, it helps out. Okay, so the body armor is a Restless Ward. I'll go over later why we're choosing this, but what I have in here is Mana Forged Arrows with Ensnaring Arrow. So basically Mana Forged Arrows is going to proc Ensnaring Arrow. Whenever Ensnaring Arrow crits, it's going to get a power charge, it's going to cast Sniper's Mark, and then it will cast Forbidden Right. And this is something that we'll go over a little bit later, but this is just to ensure that you're generating endurance charges by hitting yourself with a little bit of damage from Forbidden Right. Okay, the amulet is a Strangle Gasp. I tried to, I anointed everything on here, tried to get it to brick into a rare, but it just ended up getting rid of the implicit and giving me cold damage, leached his life. I would have honestly rather had the all attributes. I had to move some stuff around once that hit, but you know, it is what it is. So if you can get one, you know, you pretty much can't brick the item by voling it. It can turn into a rare, but you know, this doesn't have any mods at all. So basically anything you get is going to be at least a little bit better. But if you like absolutely get shit stuff, you can try and Tainted Chaos it, or you can try and Mythic Orbit into, you know, you can get a Carnage Heart, you can get Hinakoras, and the GG one would be the Yoke of Suffering. If you end up getting a yoke, you're doing crazy amounts of damage. But for now, just this is good. And then the anointments on here, I'll go over real quick. We anoint Proficiency, and that's so we can slap a tattoo on that Dex node for +1 Frenzy. We get Disciple of the Unyielding. This just gives us increased damage per endurance charge, and then we take Forces of Nature for the elemental damage penetration, and Assassination for the crit multi and crit chance. Okay, the last piece to go over is the quiver. You're going to want to find one that has this flat cold damage per frenzy fractured. If you don't get it fractured, you're just going to have a nightmare of a time trying to craft this. And this one is pretty much GG for the mods that are on there. I just got kind of screwed on the tier of the life roll, but you're looking for crit chance with bows for me was the best, just because my crit chance wasn't capped. And then global crit multi, as high tier of life roll as you can, bow attacks, fire an additional arrow, increased damage, and attack speed. And the thing to note is that all of these are going to get multiplied by 2.49 from here. So your 1 arrow turns into 3 arrows. Your 39 crit multi turns into whatever 2.4 times that is. So all of these are just getting skyrocketed to the moon from the fact that you're using a Widow Hail. Okay, so that covers every single piece of the gear. For Flasks, I'm just running a crit flask here, life flask with corrupted blood, which I don't even need. This is to cap my spell suppression, so I think I should be at 90%. Yes, 90% spell suppression without that on. If my Flask's up, I have 100% spell suppression, so that's why I'm running them. Your Flasks are going to be up pretty much all the time with gain a charge on crit. And then, you know, I have negative 56 Chaos Res, so I have a Flask just to take that down a little bit. If you can get Chaos Res on your gear, by all means, you should go for it. I just couldn't afford to fit it in. Haven't rolled over some stuff yet. And then a Bottled Faith for you end up getting even more rage regeneration if you're on consecrated ground and crit. So this is a good Flask to have. Okay, so that goes over all of the gear. We'll go over the passive tree now. So it's kind of a straightforward passive tree, but if you're not familiar with some of this tech, I'll just go over it real quick. So, you know, we're stacking frenzy charges. Where do we get all of these frenzy charges from? Okay, so we'll go over them one by one. So the first one, you get +1 frenzy charges from Masterful Form, and then this makes your max endurance charges equal to your max frenzy charges. Okay, so there's one here. Then, like I said earlier, we pick up this proficiency to anoint, or not, we anoint this and we tattoo it, so we get another one here. We do get one more frenzy charge here. We get another one through wearing a Sublime Vision, so this makes it to where we can't have any other auras on us except for Grace, but we get +1 frenzy while we're affected by Grace. We get another frenzy charge here, and we get another frenzy charge here. Okay, so that covers how we get them on the passive tree. And then, like I said, for the items, we get +1 from Combs, we get +1 from Dark Rays, and we get +1 from our Circle of Fear. So that in total gives us 12 total frenzy charges, which equals 12 total endurance charges as well. Okay, so that's how we get them. Just to cover the rest of the Ascendancy, we have Brutal Fervor. This means that our life leech is not removed when our life is full, so we're always leeching life, which is what I was talking about. You just get shot right back up to 100% if you take any damage. Bane of Legends is great for mapping and great for single target. You get 10% more damage while you're mapping, and then you get 20% more damage while you're hitting a unique enemy. So this is huge. And then, you know, the big downside of a Widowhail most of the time is that it has 5% base crit, which trying to get to 100% crit with that is tough. But this makes it to where the base crit of Widowhail is 8, so it's much easier. I believe in my POB I'm sitting somewhere around 90% crit chance, so I'm still not quite capped, but I'm getting close. Okay, so that goes over the Ascendancy. In terms of what you're doing on the passive tree, besides all of the frenzy charge stuff, you're going to look for tattoos. You basically just want to tattoo everything that you can in order to get whatever it is that you might need. Okay, so for me it was spell suppression, so I have quite a few tattoos with spell suppress on here. I needed some all attributes, but you know, these are all going to vary depending on how your gear and your build is set up. A couple of them that you are not flexible that I would say you definitely need. I'm going to say you probably should put at least 2 of these Tesalio warriors on. You're hitting so many enemies that 10% chance to blind on hit with how fast we're attacking and how many projectiles we're shooting. Most enemies are going to be blind with 2 of these, so I would not change these 2. Obviously they don't have to be in this spot, you can put them wherever, but 2 of them I think is good. The other ones that are not interchangeable is this one here. So this gives us an additional projectile. We have to have 7 connected points to it, so this is the spot where you're going to put one of these. These are pretty expensive. I think they're 8 divines a piece, but it makes you have so much more damage that it's 100% worth it. Okay, so Ramiko Makanga here. We have another Ramiko Makanga here. And then this one, you definitely want to make sure that this one is in this spot with this Warrior's Tail. So instead of 1 additional projectile, you're getting 2 additional projectiles, okay? Another one that I would probably not skimp on is the Ancestral Tattoo of the Bloodlines. This just gives you increased life recovery rate for every tribe that you have. So, you know, you don't need to go necessarily out of your way to get a bunch of different tribes, but you're going to get more life recovery rate for every tribe that you have. So those are the tattoos that I would say don't skimp on, and then all the other stuff is just up to you. If you need some res thrown on there, whatever it may be, okay? We are using a Lethal Pride here. This gives us, you know, strength for all of these small nodes. And then I also found one that just gave me some double damage here and here, and then some res here and here, which I needed. So you can search on your POB and find one with whatever it is that you might need, okay? And then For the cluster jewels, we'll go over those. These are just bow damage cluster jewels with Feed the Fury, Fuel the Fight, and Martial Prowess. You're going to want to have Fuel the Fight in the back, and then the two that you want are Martial Prowess and Feed the Fury for damage while leeching, attack speed, and then attack speed, accuracy, damage with attacks, ailments from attacks. We don't need that, but the other three are really good. So I have two of these. One is here. And then I think this one just had all res because I needed a little bit of all res. And this one is the exact same one, but this one just has intelligence because I needed a little bit of intelligence. Okay. You can follow along in the passive tree. This one gives us, you know, increased evasion per frenzy charge. So that's always good to have. I did take this one. Like I said, I was starved for intelligence. So I'm stuck with this point for now until I can get better gear. And I'm also stuck taking some of these accuracy nodes that you wouldn't ideally want to take, but I needed it to make sure that my hit chance, it says 96 right now. I don't think I have my golem. It should be at 100, I believe. Oh, it's at 99. Okay, so I'm close. I think I lost some decks with some tattoos, but 99 is good enough for me. Like I said, we have so many projectiles. We're shooting so much that you're going to pretty much be hitting everything anyway. Okay, so like I said, I will include the POB in the description down below if you guys want to check it out. The last kind of notable thing to go into here is I do have a Watcher's Eye that has chance to evade while affected by Grace, and then spell suppress while affected by Grace. Like I said, we can only use Grace as an aura. So if you can get something, you know, a triple Grace one would be great. That's what Palsteron had in his, but that's probably like 100 or 150 divines. The two that I needed the most were these two, and I sniped this one for like 20 divines or something like that. I think to me that was a steal. So I picked that up. And then the last thing to note on here is that you do want to use a Thread of Hope with the large ring, and we get some really good stuff in here. Okay, so we get an additional arrow here. We're getting an additional arrow here. We get Wind Dancer for if we ever do get hit, our EHP goes up even more. We're pretty much 95% evade in this build, so you know we're not getting hit very often. We do take Aspect of the Eagle, Quick Step for some suppress, and then One with Nature for some res, crit, and ele damage. So I believe that goes over everything that's on the passive tree that you guys might want to look into. Okay, so now I'm going to go over the spreadsheet with you guys that I made. So here we go. I pulled it up. Okay, so because I recorded this video last night and I was kind of all over the place with how I was trying to explain, you know, everything that we get from, you know, all of these charges. So I wrote it down in a thing. I'll include this in the description too if you guys want to look it up just to kind of see what you're getting. Okay, but I broke it down by category, so everything that we get per endurance charge. Okay, so as base stats in the game, every endurance charge that you have gives you 4% ele res. So with 12 we're getting 48% elemental resistance. Okay, so as you can see in game here, where's it at? Hey, here we go. My defenses. Okay, so I'm one under res cap with lightning. So you know, you might be thinking, well shit, if you run ele weakness you're gonna get screwed, right? But as soon as I put these on, my res goes up to 116, 116, and 114. So as long as you have all of your charges, which you will all the time, you're not going to have to worry about your res. You can be under res capped if you want. I just didn't want to do that, so I wanted to be res capped for that. Okay, so that shows you at least the first part of it. We get 4% physical damage reduction for every endurance charge that we have, and this is also another base stat just from having endurance charges. So right off the jump we're at 48% physical damage reduction. That paired with the Arctic armor that I have in there, I believe that's 21% less physical damage, so we're at 69% less physical damage taken. 69, woo, there we go. Now this is where it gets a little juicy. Okay, so for the Restless Ward body armor that we're wearing, we get 75 flat life regen per endurance charge. This equals 900 life regen a second. So this helps with our berserk uptime, okay? Because the life regen does not apply to us, it applies to our rage regeneration. Like I said, with that ring that I have, we get 0.3% life regen per endurance charge as well. So that's 3.6% life regen on the synthesis ring. And then from Disciple of the Unyielding, we get 8% increased damage. So from our endurance charges, we're getting 96% increased damage. Okay. Now, frenzy charges, their base stats give you more damage and attack speed. So we get 4% more damage. So we're getting 48% more damage flat straight out the jump from having 12 frenzy charges. We're getting 72% increased attack speed from having 12 frenzy charges. And then from the Dark Rays and the Restless Ward, each of those gives us movement speed per endurance charge. So that totals 9%. So we end up having 108% increased movement speed from those two items. Now, the way that we scale flat damage is through Anomalous Ice Bite, and then our Ring, and our Quiver. So I didn't put Ring in here. I'll have to put that in there real quick. So in total, we have 42 to 66 flat cold damage added to attacks per frenzy charge. So that totals 504 to 792 added cold damage to attacks, which is absolutely massive. Now, from the armor and evasion mastery that we take on the tree, we're getting 18% increased evasion rating, which is wait, did I write that down? I think I might have wrote that down wrong. Where's it at? It's 8%. Okay, so I screwed up on that. It's 8. So we'll fix this real quick. For some reason, I can't do math in my head right now, but let's see, what's 12 times 8? 96. So we're getting 96% increased evasion from our frenzy charges. And then the last one is just a flat increase in damage. So we're getting 2% increased damage per frenzy charge from Ice Bite, and we're getting 8% increased damage per frenzy charge from Disciple of the Slaughter. Those total to 10%. So we're getting 120% increased damage from all of our frenzy charges. Okay. And then I just wanted to real quick go over some other like notable interactions that kind of make this build possible. Okay. So as you can see, our charge duration from Restless Ward, I had a different one that was 191. I think the one that I have now is 173% charge duration, but it totals 29 seconds in total of our charges. So you're pretty much never going to run out of charges on this build. So that's helpful for sure. Okay. And then we do get 9 additional projectiles. So Tornado Shot fires 10 projectiles in total. And that is from the things that I went over in the tree: tattoos, the Thread of Hope, the Quiver. So 10 proj. Okay. One thing that I did not go over is we are using Forbidden Flame and Forbidden Flesh jewels in this one here. And this gives us Arena Challenger. So basically it's when you gain charges whenever you hit a rare unique enemy, and you're going to get more attack speed and more movement speed based on how many Arena Challenger charges you have. So this also is how we're just zooming around the map so much. If there's a lot of rares in your map, you're just going to be at like 1,000,000% movement speed all the time. Okay. One thing I also did not go over is this is what I was talking about earlier with that Forbidden Right. So we hit for ourselves with Forbidden Right, and this just ensures that we would gain endurance charges even if we're not mapping and killing things. So this is how we solve that if you're not killing stuff. Okay. And then last couple things are Berserk uptime. So we end up rolling around 1200 life regen per second with this. So that ends up being 12 rage per second. So the Berserk uptime in this build is absolutely insane. And then, like I said earlier, with 100% spell suppress through the tattoos that we're using, our helmet that we have suppress on, the tree, and the flask, that gets us to 100. So, you know, like I said, I've played this, I've ran quite a bit of maps in this build and have not died, haven't even felt like I was close to dying at all. So I think that covers the gist of the build. It's been a blast to play. I haven't tried any bosses with it. My POB DPS is right around 50 million, I believe. I had to kind of guess on some numbers in terms of how many proj are hitting the boss and all that stuff. I used the same numbers that Palsteron was doing in his, and it's about 50 million. So I'm sure that it could probably do some bosses if you needed it to, but I think where this build really shines is as a zoomy mapper. So with that, I'll leave the build there. You know, if you guys want to check it out or give it a shot, if you got some money sitting around, I probably spent around 150 to like 175 divines on the build. You know, I sniped a couple of things that were right after he posted the video like this. I got this for pretty cheap. So, you know, depending on if, you know, whenever streamers post videos, sometimes the price of everything skyrockets. So that could be the case. So I haven't checked since I bought it all. But like I said, just give you an idea of what I paid for everything. It was around 150, 175 divines. So if you got that money laying around and you want to try a really zoomy mapper, go for it. And I don't think you'll regret it. So with that, I'll leave the video there. If you guys could do me a favor, drop a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.